Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. So, I am Princess Tia Vanoso, B.Ed second year evening class. So, our topic this afternoon is about the ppsp, stand for Philippine Professional Standards for Teacher. So, what is ppsp all about? So, ppsp, or the Philippine Standards for Teachers, is a set of standards which makes explicit what teachers should know, be able to do, and value to achieve competence, improve student learning outcomes, and eventually quality educations. So, it is founded on teaching philosophies of learner-centeredness, lifelong learning, and exclusivity among others. So, why are standards important for the teachers? So, standards ensure better accountability, holding teachers and schools responsible for what goes on in the classrooms. The practice of aligning learning to standards also helps ensure that the higher level of learning is attained, guides teachers in the process of assessments, and help keep them on track. So, how do standards for teacher help us to be a better teacher? So, as a future teacher, teachers' standards can be used by those involved in training and inductions of new teachers to ensure the quality of new entrants to professions. So, in addition to being used to assess the performance of individual teachers, they can be used to assess the need for appropriate professional development in the schools. So, what is the main purpose of it? What is the main purpose of ppsp? So, the main purpose of it is basically aims to first set the clear expectations of teachers along well-defined career stages of professional development for beginning to distinguish practice. The second one is engage teachers to actively embrace a continuing effort in attaining proficiency. And the last one is apply a uniform measure to assess teacher performance. So, next, ppsp have 7 domains. So, the first one domain is the content, knowledge, and pedagogy. The second is the learning environment. The third is diversity of learners. The fourth is curriculum and planning. The fifth is assessment and reporting. The sixth is community linkage and professional engagement. And the seventh one is the personal growth and professional development. So, we have the first domain, the content, knowledge, and pedagogy. So, the first strands of content, knowledge, and pedagogy is the content knowledge and its application within across curriculum areas. So, the competency indicators for beginning teachers here is demonstrate content knowledge and its application within and or across curriculum teaching areas. So, the next is the research-based knowledge and principles of teaching and learning. So, demonstrate an understanding of research-based knowledge and principle of teaching and learning. And next is the positive use of ICT. Show skills in the positive use of ICT to facilitate the teaching and learning process. So, the fourth is the strategies for promoting literacy and numeracy. Demonstrate knowledge of teaching strategies that promote literacy and numeracy skills. So, next is the strategies of developing critical and creative thinking, as well as other higher order thinking skills. So, apply teaching strategies that develop critical and creative thinking and or other higher order thinking skills. Next is mother tongue, Filipino, English, and teaching and learning. So, use the mother tongue Filipino and English to facilitate teaching and learning. So, the last one is the classroom communication strategies. So, demonstrate an understanding of the range of verbal and nonverbal classrooms communication strategies that support learner understanding, participations, and engagement and achievement. So, next is the next domain. Domain 2 is the learning environment. So, the strands here is the learner's safety and security. So, demonstrate knowledge and facilities, guidelines, and procedures that provide safe and secure learning environment. Next is the fair learning environment. So, demonstrate understanding of learning environment that promote fairness, respect, and care to encourage learning. So, the third one is the management of classroom structure and activities. So, demonstrate knowledge of managing classroom structures that engage learners individually or in a groups in meaningful explorations, discovery, and hands-on activities within the available physical learning environment. So, the fourth one is support for learner participation. So, demonstrate understanding, knowledge of supportive learning environments that nurture and inspire learner participations. So, the fifth one is promotions of purposive learning. So, demonstrate knowledge of learning environments that motivates learners to work productivity by assuming responsibility for their own learning. So, the last one is the management of learner behaviors. So, demonstrate knowledge of positive and non-violent discipline in the management of learner behavior. So the third domain is the diversity of learners. So the diversity learners has 5 strands. So the first is learners, gender, needs, strengths, interests, and experiences. So here is demonstrate knowledge and understanding of differentiate teaching to suit the learner's gender, needs, strengths, interests, and experiences. So next is the learner's linguistic, cultural, socioeconomics, and religious backgrounds. So implement teaching strategies that are responsive to the learner's linguistic, cultural, socioeconomics, and religious backgrounds. And the third one is learners with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. So these are the learners who has disabilities, which is basta ng mga students na ay mga kulang-kulang, or what we call is special na child. So use strategies responsive to learners with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. So the fourth is the learners in difficult circumstances. So demonstrate understanding of the special educational needs of learners in difficult circumstances, including geographic isolations, chronic illness, displacements or disasters, child abuse, and child labor practices. So the fifth one is the learners from indigenous groups. So demonstrate knowledge of teaching strategies that are inclusive of learners from indigenous groups. So the fourth domain is the curriculum and planning. So the curriculum and planning has 5 strands. So first is planning and management of teaching and learning process. So prepare developmental sequences, teaching and learning process to meet curriculum requirements. Next is learning outcomes aligned with learning competencies. So identify the learning outcomes that are aligned with learning competencies. So the third is relevance and responsiveness of learning progress. So demonstrate knowledge and implementations of relevant and responsive learning programs. So the fourth is professional collaborations to enrich teaching practice. So seek advice concerning strategies that can enrich teaching practice. So the fifth one is the teaching and learning resources, including, so here is show skills, the selections, development, and use of variety of teaching and learning outcomes, including ICT to address learning goals. So the fifth domain is assessment and reporting. So here has 5 strands. So first is design, selections, organizations, and utilizations of assessment strategies. So here is demonstrate knowledge of the design, selections, organization, and use of diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment strategies consistent with curriculum requirements. So the next is monitoring and evaluation of learner process and achievement. So demonstrate knowledge of monitoring and evaluation of learner progress and achievement using learner attainment data. So the third is feedback to improve learning. So we need to have feedback so that kaning makabalo sila kung asa sila dapit na nagkulang or mali. So here is demonstrate knowledge of providing timely, accurate, and constructive feedback to improve learner performance. So the fourth is communications of learner needs, progress, and achievement to key stakeholders. So demonstrate familiarity with a range of strategies for communicating learners' need, progress, and achievement. So the last one is use of assessment data to enrich teaching and learning practices and programs. So demonstrate an understanding of the role of assessments data as feedback in teaching and learning practices and program. So the sixth domain is the community linkage and professional engagement. So here has 4 strands. So first one is establishment of learning environments that are responsive to community context. So demonstrate an understanding of knowledge of learning environments that are responsive to community context. So next is engagement of parents and the wider schools community in the educative progress. So seek advice concerning strategies that build relationship with parents or guardians and the wider community. The third one is the professional ethics. So demonstrate awareness of existing laws, and regulations that apply to the teaching professions and become familiar with responsibilities is specified in the code of ethics for professional teachers. So the fourth one is the school policies and procedures. So demonstrate knowledge and understanding of facilities, school policies, and procedures to foster harmonious relationship with the wider school community. So the last domain is the personal growth and professional development. So here has 5 strands. So the first is the philosophy of teaching. So articulate a personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. So next is the dignity of teaching as a profession. So demonstrate behaviors that uphold and dignity of teaching profession by exhibiting qualities such as caring attitude, respect, and integrity. So the third is the professional links with colleagues. So seek opportunity to establish professional links with colleagues. So the fourth one is the professional reflections and learning to improve practice. So demonstrate an understanding of how professional reflections and learning can be used to improve practice. And the last in this domain is the professional development goals. So demonstrate motivation to realize professional development goals based on the Philippine professional standards for teaching. So those are the 7 domains of ppsp. So ppsp stands for Philippine stands for Philippine Professional Standards for Teacher. So, here is the 7 domains of ppsp. So, the content, knowledge, and pedagogy, learning environment, diversity of learners, curriculum and planning, assessment and reporting, community linkage and professional engagement, and the last is the personal growth and professional development. So, that is all for today, and thank you for listening and watching. So, thank you and goodbye.